Welcome to Eternal Manna, the daily devotional broadcast of Grace Gospel Church. We are looking at Psalm 55, internal strife in the city, in the country. David's own son Absalom rebelling against him. David had described his circumstances. David had described his enemies. And now we come to the real person David, point number 3, David's deep pain. The one thing we can learn from this psalm for sure is that David was very human, very, very human, just like you and me. So in verse 2, we read, "My thoughts trouble me and I am distraught." David was troubled by his thoughts. He kept thinking about what was happening. He kept thinking about his son, Absalom. And perhaps David asked the question, where did I go wrong? Where did I go wrong for my son to rebel against me like this, to lead an open rebellion? And many a father and a mother has asked that question. When children rebel, walk away from the Lord, and enter into a lifestyle that is totally abhorrent, they ask the question, where did we go wrong? And yes, sadly, there are times we as parents, being human, we may have taken some missteps and not looked at our son or daughter in the way that we should have looked at them and cared for them and ministered to them. But even when we have done our best, there is always the strong possibility that a son or daughter could walk away from God. And you should not come under guilt when that happens. You have done your best. Now they are responsible for their actions. They are responsible for their own personal theology, and they are responsible for their actions. And you will not be held accountable for that. So what do you do when your thoughts trouble you and you're so distraught, you're grief-stricken, you're at breaking point, you don't know what to do, where to turn? And I want to encourage you, of course, your own personal prayers. You cry out to God. You cry out to God. But also I would say you need to have a support structure. Maybe other parents who are going through similar pain, and you come together and you talk about your pain. You release your pain to the Lord and to each other. You need to have a support structure. I want to really emphasize that. You can't handle your pain alone. Whenever someone loses a loved one through death, thank God there is grief counseling, and there are grief teams available. There are churches that run these grief courses and grief ministries. And I have personally talked to people who have attended them and found them to be of great help. So the worst thing in life is to go through life pretending that everything is okay, when deep down in your heart you're hurting. And I want to encourage you to open up to someone whom you trust, who can empathize with you, who can sympathize with you, who can cry with you, who can place their shoulders around you and offer you comfort and hope and pray with you. And there are times when you will struggle to pray. No words will come out. And at such times, it's those support team that can rally around you and pray for you, pray over you, and minister to you in your deepest distress. I'm so thankful that David is being so vulnerable. and being so transparent. We often think of David as a mighty champion, and he certainly was that. But for a good part of his life, there was deep personal pain and hurt. And he was vulnerable and he was transparent. So I want to encourage you to be vulnerable and transparent in your pain. It's okay to cry, it's okay to weep. It's God given, it's very therapeutic. And today, if you need to reach out to someone, I want to encourage you to do so. Amen.